Good evening. Thanks for joining us. I'm Jason Zimmerman. Democrats from across the state are in the Green Bay area right now, holding their state convention this weekend and planning for the 2024 campaign. The keynote speaker tonight is Senator Tammy Baldwin, who is seeking her third term in office. And right now, it's unclear who her Republican opponent might be. On Friday, in a first alert, we told you that Congressman Mike Gallagher ruled out the possibility it could be him, saying he would seek re-election in the 8th District, a seat he's held since 2016. The convention is being held tonight and tomorrow at the Radisson Hotel and Conference Center. Party delegates from across Wisconsin will hear from speakers and take part in training. This evening, Governor Tony Evers addressed the crowd, and then Senator Tammy Baldwin took the stage just a short time ago. Here's a sample of what she said.
But if we're going to fix our system once and for all, if we're going to put working families first and make corporations pay their fair share and make sure every worker has a good job that actually pays the bills, then we're going to need to win, and win big in 2024.
Senator Baldwin won Wisconsin by more than 10 percentage points when she was reelected in 2018. We have both sides, as we also spoke to Senator Ron Johnson, who says Democrats could have a tough time defending many of President Joe Biden's policies.
As I travel around the state and as I greet Wisconsinites in Washington, D.C., the complaints, their concerns are pretty consistent. The 40-year high inflation is killing them. They realize that a dollar that they held at the start of the Biden administration is worth about 86 cents today. And that's hurting everybody across the economic spectrum.
Next weekend, state Republicans will gather in La Crosse for their convention. A bipartisan